Hi everyone, good morning, good evening. Today we'll see a new topic. In this topic we will try to see how the Salesforce Graph API, which is a new API introduced by Salesforce, is different than the traditional or ordinary REST API. If you can see the graph here, first thing Salesforce was supporting was ordinary REST API. Then Salesforce started thinking of Composite API, where you are able to club the number of requests into one single request. But the problem with Composite API was it can call up to 25 sub requests within a request. But with the new Graph API, the limit has been increased. That means when you are sending 25 sub request in Composite API, at the same time in Graph API we can send up to 500 sub requests. That means one single request can carry 500 sub requests with the Composite Graph API. If you can see here in the ordinary REST API, what we are doing is we are sending all the individual requests one by one, and all the individual requests are independent of each other. Whereas in case of Composite API, we can club all those independent requests into one single request and send it. And also we can set the dependency. That means the request 2 can be dependent on request 1, and the request n can also be dependent on request n minus 1. So here one more thing happening in a Composite Graph API is it is following the atomicity rule of database. That means either all the requests will execute or not at all. That kind of setup also we can do within the Composite Graph API. Okay, now we have seen the theoretical part of it. Let's see it in practical. Okay, to simplify this demonstration, I have created some sample code. I'll try to increase the font so that you can see it clearly. To simplify this demo, I have created some sample requests. So if you can see the first request here, we are trying to insert an account. Here you can see the account, and we are sending a request body to create an account. In this case, we are trying to create an account called Cloudy Developer. Then in the second request, you will see we are trying to create a contact. So this contact we are trying to associate with the first account. Okay, these are two independent requests. If one fail, another is not responsible. Okay, but if we will make these two requests into a single request, how it will look like, you can see here. In this case, if you will see the previous one, it was a subject, the relative URL of the endpoint was a subject / account. But in case of Graph API, the relative URL is composite / graph. And in Graph API, you will see we are doing the same thing but within one single request. First we are sending account. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, now whatever the account we are inserting, we are creating a reference of it, insert account here. Okay, and the second one we are trying to create the contact, and the reference what we created on the first request, insert account, that same reference ID we are using to link this contact with that account. Okay, let's see practically in Postman. So first thing is we'll put the endpoint URL. First we'll copy this first URL. We'll set it over here. This is the endpoint URL, and the request type is post. We have to set an authorization header. For that we need an access token. If you don't know how to generate the access token, I have a separate video, Salesforce authentication and authorization. You can follow that. Otherwise, simplest way, if you want just to test it, what you can do is you can visit Salesforce lwc.haraquap.com. Then once it is opened, you can select whether you are trying to connect to dev or prod or sandbox. In my case, I am trying to do a dev work. Put your username and password, Salesforce username and password. If you have security token, put it over here. Login. Once you logged in, there is a show more button here. If you click on that, you can get the access token. Okay, even the base URL is available here, the org base URL. Okay, this is the simplest way, but this is not the appropriate way, what I said, because there is another procedure to generate this access token that I have another video. You can watch on that, Salesforce authorization and authentication. So for simplest thing, what I can do is I can copy this, double click on this thing and remove the existing access token, maybe that is invalid or would have expired. Put the new token. Okay, now go to body. Here you can set the raw body. So for that we will copy the body from here. I have the body here, copy it. Okay, now body is there. I have only one parameter name, nothing else. You can just send it. Okay, it is saying unsupported media type. What we can do is we can set another header which is content type. So content type, sorry, not text slash JSON, it is application slash JSON. Type JSON, it will come. Okay, then send it once again. Yes, you see the account has been created. We store this ID. Okay, then we can do one thing, we can open another tab. Here we will copy the same endpoint what we have here, or you can let's copy it, because after that we are supposed to insert the contact. Okay, here I can change it, post, then just change the account to contact. Okay, now we have the authorization. Sorry, in the header you have to set the authorization. Just copy it from the previous request if you want. Control A, Control C, paste it over here. Then the same thing we have to do here, content type. Content type we have to set as JSON. Okay, and the last one is body. So body, I have already created a sample body. We can copy it from there. So for creating a contact, we basically need the first name, last name, raw body you can use here. Let's expand it a little bit so that you can see it. So what are all these things I am trying to set? First name, last name, email and account ID. This account ID is nothing but what I received on my first request. Here, copy, paste it. Okay, that's all, and send. You see contact also got created. If you see the response, if you just move it a little bit, contact also get created. How do you know this is the contact ID? Because it starts with 003. Okay, account ID starts with 001. Okay, so this is how we made two requests in case of a ordinary REST API call. Now we will transform these two requests to one single Graph API request. Let's do that. So what we'll do, first thing we'll change it to post, then endpoint URL, we'll copy it from here. We know that what I was saying, that the endpoint URL is little different. It will end with composite/graph instead of account or contact. Then same thing we have to do here, authorization, then the value of the authorization. We can copy it from the previous request because the authorization is always same. Control C, then we'll do here Control V, content type, yes it is JSON, application/JSON, then body, we can use this raw body. Okay, so body I have already set up here. You can see the body. Okay, if you wanted to see it, let me do it like this so that you can see it at once. Okay, the body looks like this. Inside the graph we have two requests here. Sorry for that, inline editing enabled. So let's copy this body, paste it over here. Let me drag it little more. Okay, if you can see it properly, or else let me put it in a notepad++ so that you can better visualize it at once. If you can see it here, what I did it, these two requests what I sent before, I clubbed them together in one single request. This is the request 1, which is trying to create the account. Okay, and this is the request 2, which is trying to create the contact, but this contact is trying to refer the first account here. Whatever the reference ID, this reference ID is user defined. You can define any reference ID, but whatever you have used here, the same ID used here. Okay, now let's execute it and see what is happening. We'll send it. Okay, now it is done. See the response. You see the response. It is saying that first it has created the account. The status is true. Okay, then whatever the account it has created, the reference ID is this thing. Okay, this is the response I got from Salesforce. Then again it is saying this is the contact it has created. Status is success, and this is the contact URL. Okay, and this is the account URL. Now you would have understood how this Composite API is going to help you in your next integration or in your next integration use case. I hope you would have understood how this Composite API is helping us. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great day.